Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know, my name is Reed Nicholson, also known as Reed Your Realtor. And in today's video, I am going to be going over with a good buddy of mine exactly why it's so important to use a local lender rather than a big online lending company. Okay, so this is Justin Rutkowski here. He is a local lender in the West Michigan area. He works with Nest Mortgage Group. And Justin, feel free to introduce yourself.
Sounds good. All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Justin Rutkowski with Nest Mortgage. Very glad to be here today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Reed for having me on. A little bit about my background. I'm from the West Michigan area. I've been here about the last 7 years or so, originally from Northern Michigan. I spent the last 5-6 years in the banking, finance industry, mostly working for larger corporate banks, now with Nest Mortgage Group.
So the first topic we wanted to kind of cover with everybody here was actually why the importance, or what the importance is, of using a local lender versus a big online lending company. So I'll let Justin kind of take it away from there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's three main reasons why I believe that it's important to work with the local lender versus an online lender. Number one, you're going to pay less. If you are working with a company, and I'm not going to name any names, but if your mascot is a space shuttle and you have commercials for the Super Bowl, that money's coming from somewhere, and typically it's coming out of your pocket. So the last I checked, Nest Mortgage did not have a Super Bowl commercial, so that's number one. Number two, communication. Communication is so vital. When you're working with me and Reed, you're working with people who live in the West Michigan area, who are from here. And when I work with somebody, you have my cell phone number. When you're working with me, you can call me, you can text me. I don't care if it's 5 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night. If you need a pre-approval, I'm doing pre-approvals 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now I
can vouch for that.
Friday night at 8 was the last one that we did. So I have to sleep, so I say that facetiously, but my point being is that typically when you're working with an online lender, you're getting access to their office phone and their work email, and they may or may not be as available for you as they need to be. The third thing is that versus going through maybe a bank or a credit union, when you're working with them, you get access to only their products and services. You only have whatever Bank A, we'll call it, whatever they have to offer, that's what you get. When you work with a private mortgage bank like us, you get access to what we can do. So we can shop rates from multiple different places and find the best fit for you, the best product, the best program. Whereas if you're going through a bank or a credit union, sometimes you just get stuck with what they have to offer. One last thing about why it's important to work with a local lender like myself. I'm going to show up to the closings. So a lot of times at closings, if you're working with an online lender, you're not going to see them there. I am going to be there at the closing with you, signing the documents in case there's any questions that may come up. I know that when you're at the closing table, the stack of papers is going to be about this thick, and there's going to be a lot of stuff in there that you may or may not understand. I'm going to do my best to explain these things to you through the process, so by the time we get to the process, hopefully there aren't as many questions as there could be. But every now and again, something comes up, there's a question, there's a document that might not make sense to you, or something that needs to be addressed. So I'm going to be there in person to make sure that that gets handled.
That's a huge one. I can speak from experience. It's always great when you can have basically everybody that helped you through the process actually be there when you're finishing up the process. It's a great time to, like you said, answer any last time questions or even any last minute concerns that may have came up. It's just a great benefit to have. So now we want to just kind of take you through what the initial phone call, what the initial starting process is when you're actually starting to want to potentially look at a home and get a lender pre-approval. So Justin, what's that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing you want to do before you start looking at houses is you want to get a pre-approval letter in hand. When we do a pre-approval, you're going to spend about 30 to 45 minutes with me over the phone. And we're going to talk through the 4 key metrics. So the 4 key metrics. Key metric number 1, we're going to talk about your income. Are you W-2? Are you self-employed? Do you get overtime and bonuses and things of that nature? Is there any commission involved? So we're going to take all of those factors into account when we're talking about your income. The third thing that we're going to talk about is assets. So these are things that are going to show up on a credit report, like an auto loan, a credit card payment, If you've had any bankruptcies or foreclosures in the last 7 years, we're going to want to address those on the front end. And any maybe a mortgage that you have, a HELOC, a second, and anything like that, we're going to cover that, so I can kind of get an idea of what your debt to ratio is. If you're not familiar with what a debt to income ratio is, we'll probably talk about that on the next episode. And then number 4, I'm going to have a conversation about credit. So credit is extremely important part of the process. Now, some people will cut, like a lot of times if you're working with an online lender or a big bank, and you don't have the exact credit score that you need, they're just going to send you a denial letter and they won't talk to you ever again. With me, I'm a little bit different. If you have below average credit, or you've had a weird scenario going on that you're trying to work through, I'm not a credit counselor, but I've seen more credit reports than most. So I'm going to help walk you through what it would take for, if we can't do the pre-approval today, what it's going to look like to get your credit in the right place 3 to 6 to 12 months down the road so that you actually can get pre-approved. The important part is hitting record, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big
one. So I'm going to flip the script a little bit. I'm going to ask you a question, Reed. In your experience as a realtor, we've worked together. You've worked with other lenders, probably banks and credit unions in the area, and then online lenders. What is the biggest difference for you working with a lender that you know and trust versus somebody over in Detroit sitting in a cubicle from an online lender? What's the experience like for your customers?
Yeah, for sure. Well, one from I guess just my point of view, the communication that you get from a local in your current town, in your area lender is unmatched compared, especially when you're comparing that to an online lending company. Like he said, they're pretty much always available to their phone. If clients are calling them, or my clients are calling them about questions with how their loan process is going, they always get the answer as fast as possible. They're not calling me, asking me the questions that they should be asking their lender anyways, and that doesn't put me into a sticky situation by having them answer their phone. So my biggest plus with using a local lender is just the communication and the availability they have to actually help you and get the job done the right way that it needs to be done.
Absolutely. I agree with everything that he said.
So we hope this quick video gave you a little bit more insight in just what the benefits are of using an actual local lender in your area rather than using an online lender.
Absolutely. And if you're still tuned in, make sure to hit that subscribe button below, like the video, and reach out to us in the comments. We'd love to hear from you, any thoughts, feedback that you might have. If you're in the area, in the West Michigan area, and you need to get a pre-approval, my info is down below. If you need to go see some houses, or if you have a house to list, Reed's info is down below. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, give us a shout out, and we'll see you on the other side.